It's time for an update on the 10 books I'm hunting in 2024. Hello Comic Army, my name is Chris the Comic Vet. Hope this video finds you safe and well. Well, before we begin, I'm going to ask you to please make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed and get a comment ready. I'll try to respond to every single comment that gets left on my channel. Okay, so at the beginning of 2024, just over 4 months ago, I decided to release a video spotlighting 10 books that I'm actually hunting in 2024. Truth be told, it's actually 9 books and an entire 12-issue run that actually culminates in 10 things I'm hunting. Make sense? Well, it does to me. So here is a quick rundown of the 10 books that I'm hunting in 2024. Transformers issue number 5, that famous Shockwave cover in a CGC 9.8. Crisis on Infinite Earths issue number 7, that iconic cover of Superman in agony holding the body of the dearly departed Supergirl, also in a CGC 9.8. The entire run of DC vs. Vampires issues 1 through 12, all also in a CGC 9.8. Swamp Thing issue number 1, any way I can find it. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 300, also any way that I can find it. Batman 428, The Death of Robin, in his CGC 9.8. Avengers vs. Justice League of America, issue number 4, that iconic cover of Superman holding both Captain America's shield and Mjolnir, in his CGC 9.8. The Amazing Spider-Man issue 700, that awesome cover, also in a CGC 9.8. Batman 232, the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul, my personal favorite Batman villain, in any grade or any way necessary. And finally, Something is Killing the Children issue number 1, in the 3rd printing cover, in a CGC 9.8. Alright, so here's a recap of the books that I've already picked up and shown. Quickly, Batman 232, the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul, in this, I would be safe to say it's probably a 1.8 or a 2.0 rough, raw copy, but to me it doesn't matter. It's the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul, and it is now in my PC. Another book that I've shown is Swamp Thing issue number 1. This very nice 6.0 that I picked up. Happy to have this, as I'm a very big Swamp Thing fan. Now let's take a look at some of the books that I picked up recently since that last update. The first one is, well, that's the back. It's The Amazing Spider-Man issue 300, newsstand, in a 3.0. So this is probably the most iconic and most famous Todd McFarlane cover when it comes to Spider-Man, and it's been homaged probably well over 300 times at this point, let's be honest, and Todd McFarlane probably homaged probably 20 to 30 of those covers himself. But this is a book that I've had in my possession many times over my life. For various points, I've had to let it go, either selling it or trading to get something that was probably important at that point in my life. However, this now is the first to be the last. This Amazing Spider-Man 300, again, newsstand, and a 3.0. If the opportunity ever comes to upgrade to a 4 or to a 5, by means of letting this go with something else to make that happen, I will. But I will always have now, for the rest of my life, an Amazing Spider-Man 300. I will never let it go again without having it in my possession. So I am very happy to have this 3.0 back in my life, and I'm happy to cross this one off my list for 2024. The next book I'm going to show you is a series I talked about that I'm hunting. And I've already knocked off, I believe 5, maybe 6 copies of DC vs. Vampires. Just again, those normal cover A's, not chasing the variants. God knows there are a lot of them because the series was wildly well received, and well, I talked about it forever on my channel. But DC vs. Vampires might be one of the toughest portions of this list that I'm going to work on. Not because there's 12 issues, but because not all 12A covers were like sent in and graded. So I may actually have to do that myself with the copies I have a little bit later in the year if I don't get to, knock off a few copies. But this is the one I wanted to show. Why? Well, because it's number 1. This is DC vs. Vampires, issue number 1, the one that kick-started that incredible mini-series in a 9.8. So I'm happy to have this. For those that are interested, it is a James Tynion IV and Matthew Rosenberg story, with Otto Schmidt doing both the cover and the interior artwork. And if you didn't read this particular series, well, you are missing out. But you're actually seeing probably the 2 most important characters for the first arc in this series, that being Batman and Green Arrow. And I'm happy to have this in my collection, and probably with another update I'll show some of the other DC vs. Vampire covers that I have, but for now I just want to spotlight the issue number 1. So if you're keeping score, that's Batman 232, the first Ra's al Ghul, DC vs. Vampires, a good portion of that series, Swamp Thing number 1, and Amazing Spider-Man 300 knocked off the list. That's leaving 6. And with 4 months basically done in 2024, I think I'm doing okay. Especially now that I'm really heading into the heart of con season. So Transformers number 5, Crisis on Infinite Earths number 7, Batman 428, Avengers JLA number 4, Amazing Spider-Man 700, Something is Killing the Children issue number 1, the 3rd printing. I will get them. I will get them. One way or another. But at this point, again, I want to say thank you for tuning in and spending a little bit of time with me as I talk about the top 10 books that I'm hunting in 2024. Again, make sure that you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Go ahead and leave a comment. Like I said, I try to respond to every comment that gets left on my channel. And just in case you weren't aware, there are now 2 tiers for you to select from if you want to become a member of the Comic Army by becoming a channel member today. Until we see you again, thank you so much for your time. Take care.